First question, look, we're looking back 5 years on from London 2012 Olympics and Paralympic Games. What is legacy? It was the buzzword of those games, but what does it mean?
We're standing in the middle of it. And this is not the only occasion where I'm noticing legacy. Clearly we have World Championships, Paralympic, Para-Athletic World Championships, the World Championships, IAAF in a few weeks' time. But I was here just the other day watching my daughter play hockey. You know, in a national schools tournament, the pitches were full, the tennis courts were full, there were bicycles and riders queuing up to get on the velodrome, the stadium was being used with kids. And there are 3,000 people now living in the park with schools and medical centres. Living legacy. I've just walked across the river, which is now cleaned, dredged, and has got wildlife in that we hadn't witnessed for the last 60 years. So it's a very, very, very strong story. And I guess, in a way, I'm trying not to personalise it, but when I came here in 2005 to present to the IOC's evaluation commission, and we're standing on what was a derelict parcel of land, you know, to look forward from that point, you know, 12 years to where I'm now standing has been an extraordinary story. And had we not been successful in Singapore in the IOC, when the IOC came to select their city, there wouldn't be this park, there wouldn't be the stadium behind me, there wouldn't have been a bid for the World Athletics Championships or the Para-Athletics Championships, and you know, we wouldn't have had the stadium to witness what we're going to be witnessing over the next few weeks. So yes, it's been a long legacy journey, and I think it was very worthwhile. And this isn't the end of the journey. That the legacy from now on will clearly, you know, sit with various groups, local and national, but to get to this point is very satisfying.
And if I may personalise it, how proud do you feel that the role that you've played in driving this?
Well, I was one of a very strong, focused, visionary set of people, so it wasn't a one-man run for home, but I'm very proud to have played my part in that.
And was London a model for the games? Was it the best that there ever has been and there ever will be?
Look, I'm slightly free from the faux courtesies now of comparison. I think they were really good games. The Paralympic Games raised the bar, and I really do think that was in part, you know, a large part of our own history and Stoke Mandeville and all the things that we know. And athletics is a sport deeply embedded in the sporting fabric of this country. So yes, there are, you know, it's been a synthesis of the current and our historical commitment to sport.
And given the turmoil around Rio and the difficulties that Tokyo are having, was London the model that the Olympics and Paralympics?
It's never easy to put a games together. I think it was, I can't remember who it was that once said to me, if you like sausages and you like the Olympic Games, you don't want to watch either being put together. You know, pulling together this complexity of project over the short space of time that you have to deliver simultaneous World Championships, and some 50 of them, tests a city like nothing else. So I'm not in that I don't, you know, having sort of talked about the faux courtesies of comparison, I never ever underestimate how hard it is, you know, and Rio did a very good job, and Tokyo will do a very good job. I sit on the coordination commission for Tokyo, and they will be a spectacular games.
Does the fact that there are only 2 cities vying for the next 2 games, though, show that there is a challenge for the Olympic League?
I think there's a challenge for all of us in sport to go on connecting with local communities and to make sure that we're telling the story that we've just talked about, which is that this is not just about 3 weeks of spectacular sport any more than 2012 was only about 3 weeks of spectacular sport. There has to be a legacy story, there has to be a narrative, there has to be an emotional connection, and we do have to go on explaining to people not just the dry project management of what we're trying to do, but why we're doing it, why people from all walks of life you know, believers in anything and nothing come together through sport. And, you know, maybe we're not telling that story well enough, and we're not probably being able to properly articulate the difference between a cost and an investment in a community.
And given the trouble that sport is having at the moment in terms of corruption and doping and all of these things, does the Olympics need to watch that it stays relevant and stays focused on the sport?
Well, look, I think you've sort of painted a fairly bleak picture. Yes, we have had our challenges, but sport is still very strong and is a metaphor for a lot of people. You know, is a metaphor for life for a lot of people. We have a responsibility to fix it when, you know, when it's under challenge or when it's broken, and people expect us to do that, and they don't expect a litany of broken promises. And, you know, it's not my problem, Gov, it's somebody else's problem. We do have to be seen to show leadership, and I think that there is a deficit of leadership in sport. I think we need to make sure that we have the triangle of trust, leadership and relevance. Relevance because, you know, we need to go on showing young people that sport matters and why it can change their lives. Leadership has to be consistent, and we have to show that all the time. And we really do have trust as well as the other part of that triangle. We have got to show young people particularly, and our clean athletes, that we are prepared to defend sport's birthright and make sure that we are creating a landscape for them where if we are asking them to dedicate half their young lives to this activity, it's not unreasonable for them to expect us to create a landscape of safety and security for them.
And finally, 12 years on, if you had, with the benefit of hindsight, going back 12 years, would you do it all again?
Oh, absolutely, because we wouldn't have had any of this. And, you know, there are no guarantees in future, but, you know, having been on that journey from 2003, 2004, the 2005 win in Singapore, and then 7 years of delivery to get to this point, and the story still continues. You know, this is a living, breathing part of the story today, and it will be for others over the next 20 or 30 years to make sure they go on building on what we have created.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.